Ready the Armada. We will use the old ways.
Zack Snyder, is he teasing more Snyderverse? That's a question that I think a lot of us now are asking because for quite some time, the since even before the Snyder Cut was released, there were a lot of discussions on whether or not the Snyder verse would be continued. I know my pals over at the Culture Nerd were talking highly of that possibility and it going to be moving forward. And I know there's a lot of other people around who have said the same thing that yes, the Snyderverse will be continued. However, we've seen no evidence of that to this point. Yes, Zach talked a little bit about possibilities in that continuing in his little promotional tour when he was jumping podcast to podcast for the Snyder Cut. But overall, there's been no real evidence or real indication that it will be continued. Now, my boy Sil Abdul over at Sil Abdul Inc., which great channel, check out his channel. He talks mostly DC, but he talks a little bit about a little bit of everything. He and Mikey Sutton from Geekosity have been really hyping up for the past number of months that the Snyderverse is continuing. It's going to be coming, but it all hinged on the finalization of the Discovery Warner merger. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to have some kind of inkling that things are coming. And we kind of got that over the past week. Now, it did start on November 17th, which we all know is the anniversary of Justice League and possibly the biggest day in the Snyderverse fandom where we made the most impact in just tweeting out a hashtag, release the Snyder Cut back in 2019 or 2020. I'm sorry, in 2019. Years in COVID all screwed me up. But when we did that, that is the catalyst. It's believed that's one of the catalysts that pushed them to releasing the Snyder Cut. So it's understandable that people, as well as Zack himself, will look at that day a certain way. And he posted a picture of a clapper board. It said W5279. I don't remember what the other number, but it was scene 279. That's what is to be believed, which is the scene where Darkseid says, "Ready the Armada, we will use the old ways." And now that was back on November 17th. We also got on November 22nd, Clay Staub, who was part of the production of Justice League and I believe a friend of Zack Snyder's, posted a picture of Darkseid from those storyboards that were released. And it just said, "Let it begin, Zack Snyder's Justice League." So we get these two hints from people involved with that film, pretty much, days apart. But it didn't end there, because on November 25th, which is America Thanksgiving, Zack Snyder posts a picture of his turkey. Well, he did that last year as well. If you go on his Vero, you'll see that he posted a picture of his turkey last year. And when he did that, people didn't think anything of it because it was just, hey, Thanksgiving, and he's posting it. Now, this particular post was a post of the turkey, and it said, "Thankful." Now, I'm going to jump over here. You're going to see all these back to back. You'll say, "Thankful," Zack Snyder and Vero, and then you see the other things here that I was talking about. But people are freaking out because of that. I don't know if you can see. Oh, there we go. That right there. Right there. The omnibus. It looks like it's the omnibus of Final Crisis, which was a comic book run between 2008 and 2009. July 2008 to March 2009, which his story arc for his 5-film arc was going to pull from a bit. So the fact that he has that sitting there got people all excited. Because first off, why is that sitting on his kitchen counter for Thanksgiving dinner? But not only that, if you take a look closer, you'll see that there are 2 tablets sitting on top of the book. Now, to me, when I was younger, I did a lot of art. And those look like 2 tablets that I would have used in high school when I did a lot of artwork. And we know Zack likes to do his own little storyboards or story designs in a notebook. And that's kind of what that looks like. So could he have been I mean, obviously, we know that he does this stuff because he knows the fans. He knows what'll get the fans excited. But it's more than that. I think that he's really saying or showing people like, look, things are in motion. Whether it's officially on pen and paper that this is happening, things are in motion. The wheels are turning in his head. Yes, he's got the Army of the Dead series on Netflix. He's got Rebel Moon, which is, I believe, looking to start production March, I believe. Either March or May. So he has those two projects going on. Plus, he has one or two animated projects that are going to be coming out shortly. He's got a very, very full schedule. But that doesn't mean that he is not going to be sitting there planning for what's going to come when he's done with all of that. And that's what's so exciting about all this. And I really wanted to have John from Spoiler Country on today to talk about this. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. But, I want to know what people's thoughts are on the Snyderverse continue, because it is huge. It is much bigger than what I think people understand. Now, in the article here at Spoilerverse.com, oh, here we go. It's W52791 was the collab report. But you have to, how could it be restored? And that's kind of the one thing that a lot of people constantly are asking about. How can the Snyderverse be restored? Because we know that there's so much already going on and in motion with the DCEU. We have the Flash film coming out that is essentially going to reestablish what the DCEU is. You have Batgirl over on HBO Max. That's going to be utilizing elements of Snyder's universe with J.K. Simmons' Gordon. You have the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman coming out, which is separate and on its own. Then you have J.J. Abrams doing a whole bunch of stuff in DC, which at this point in time, I don't even know if it's going to be happening because we haven't heard anything about it in probably a year or two. So what does this mean? How can it be continued? And where could it be continued is another question. And again, that's also up for speculation. I'm not here to say I have any information, but the speculation is that, yes, it could be continued in live action. There's no reason why it couldn't. Now, if that were to happen, we'd have to realize that the actors and Zack himself, the filmmaker, they're all pretty busy over the next year or two. You have Gal, who's doing Cleopatra. She's got Wonder Woman 3 coming up. You have Jason Momoa, who's got Aquaman 2. He's in the middle of doing that. He also has to do, what's it called? Wonder Woman 3. Who knows if, I mean, I don't know anything about Dune. I know what happened in the first movie, but could he be in the second movie? I don't know. So his schedule could be pretty tied up. And that's the thing about actors. They schedule out years in advance. They have 2 or 3 years planned out in advance. So scheduling that kind of stuff could be difficult. Not saying impossible, but I think it could be a little difficult. Then you not only have that, but then you also have the whole Ben Affleck aspect. He's not getting any younger. He's in his 50s. He's not getting any younger. And I know that a lot of this stuff will be done with stunt doubles and so on and so forth. That I'm not saying. It's just, will he want to come back into that role? And we've heard multiple times that he loves working with Zack. He loves Zack's idea. So it's a good possibility that he will come back. Let's see here. I'm going to pass because I never cared about Tom's story ever to horse. I don't care about Wake Me Up if we get Sam Raimi's Spider 4. Okay, we'll get to you in a second there, Andrew. If hopefully you keep watching once I get through here. But yes, we could very well get the continuation of Zack's Snyderverse in live action. If not, I'm still not completely sold that we're going to get it in live action. I know Zack alluded to on his little press tour through the podcast for Snyder Cut that animation was a possibility. Now, with the Discovery merger, that could have changed drastically. There are people who believe that he and David Zaslav have been talking behind closed doors, so when this merger is completed, they can come out the gate and say, we did what the fans wanted. Snyder Cut or Justice League 2, Snyder Cut 2, whatever you want to call it, will be coming to HBO Max or to Warner Brothers or whatever you want to say. It's a possibility. But I think that this whole thing here, this whole alluding and hinting to here, that is showing us that he is going to be doing something that is or that he's in the work, he's working on something that could be coming. Because remember, he needs to give a pitch. You know, for any new project, he'll have to go to David Zaslav or whoever's in charge of DC content when Zaslav and Discovery take over. And he's going to have to pitch, this is what I want to do. Similar to what he did with the Snyder Cut. He took the footage he had and said, look, this is the Snyder Cut. This is what I want to do to complete it. This is how much it'll cost. Can we do it? He'll have to do the same thing to complete the Snyderverse. So whether that happens or not, I guess is to be seen. But I think that's really exciting. I would say if you're not on Vero at this point in time, you may want to get on there, start following Zack, because that's 2 hints within a week. He doesn't normally do it that often. He doesn't normally post that kind of stuff that often, but he is known to do those little hints here and there on his post. So you may want to follow him and start looking out for all that. What's going on, guys? Did you enjoy this video? If you did, make sure you smash that like button. And for more, hit subscribe with that little notification bell. That way, you'll be notified every time a new episode drops. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all later.